The latest thing to say is we have lasers on our pads, but a true laser is in a doctor's office, and that doctor has been specifically trained on that laser. There is no laser that they put in one place and they hold it there for 10 minutes or 20 minutes. They would burn you because there's so much power, and those go really deep in.
Welcome back to Born SuperHuman. So there's been a lot of conversations about red light therapy. I find myself engaging in them in so many different locations, whether it's at the gym or whether it's a recovery space or even sometimes just in the supermarket. So I wanted to get down to the nitty gritty and find out what really is the truth behind red light therapy, because I see a lot out there that are no longer true or serving and providing what they promise. So who better to go to than the founder creator of Red Light Pro Devices, Penny Foskaris. Penny, great to have you back here again on Born Superhuman. And I
Thanks
really
again.
want to dive today into red light.
Perfect. Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. I love light therapy, and I've, been working with it in the clinic for over 8 years. We have almost 9 years now. And so it is what helped push me to starting my own company, because the light therapy devices that my clients would come in, because we had our big unit that was $28,000 for a whole bunch of pads together. And they would say, "What do you have for home?" And for my knee, elbow, and I got nothing. And so the person that was making my device, I asked them to make them. They weren't interested in making small devices because they sell a big unit for $28,000 and they call it a day, right? And so at that point, I worked with engineers in another company to create the red light devices to be just as powerful as we have in the clinic, so we can have the same results at home, and also for clinics to have smaller devices and not have to be stuck in one room. They can serve more people at one time. That's really what it came about. Yeah.
Well, the reason I asked you to come back on here is because I know the amount of research and dedication you put
Yeah.
into building your Red Light Pro devices.
Yeah.
And I'm proud to say that I personally use your devices, both the small pad and the large pad, and have seen incredible results in my health. My own mother, who came to visit me, who had swollen ankles and wasn't able to put her shoes on properly. And in
Mhm.
2 days of using it, we had to buy her new shoes because her feet went down in swelling so much that her shoes no longer fit. So, and that's just one of the stories.
Yeah.
Let's get into what is red light therapy.
Yeah. So red light therapy, first of all, we have LEDs on our pads, and we'll talk about the difference between lasers and LEDs in just a minute. So light therapy goes into the body, everywhere in our body is cells, right? Our eyes, our scalp, our skin, our muscles, everything's cells. And so what happens is the light goes into the cells and helps the mitochondria, which are the powerhouses of the cell, produce more ATP, adenosine triphosphate. That's the battery. So we get to now, we're energizing the cell to help the cell work better. So, for example, and also we're reducing inflammation. Like when somebody takes Tylenol or Motrin for pain, what it's doing is blocking the pain from your feel, but it's not helping heal. So when we're doing light therapy, like we see, and like you said with your mom, I mean, the swelling went down. We've seen pain reduce in 15 minutes. We're reducing inflammation, which could cause more pain than the problem itself. Like I had a patient came in with torn meniscus. Doctor just gave this big old brace on her leg, and she was hobbling in. We wrapped it for 15 minutes, her knee, and literally I said, "Can you bend your knee?" And she bent it almost to her chest. Now, did we repair the meniscus so fast? No, but it's going to start helping heal the area. She might still need surgery, but the pain was coming from where? From the inflammation. And even after surgery, people have inflammation. They can't do their therapy like they're supposed to because it's too tight. One of my friends, her brother, because of complications of diabetes, they had to cut off his leg right below his knee. And he had so much swelling that he couldn't put on the prosthetic. And he was depressed. He couldn't go anywhere. And she asked me, "Do you think it'll help him?" I said, "All we can do is try, because I don't know that. I haven't had that case yet." And literally within a week, the swelling went down, that he had to get a new prosthetic because it was too loose. And he was able to get and go walk around and now at least have a more normal life, right? That's why I do what I do. That's why I was like, I want people to, they would come in with their little scooter because they tore their Achilles tendon, or someone has to drive them because they can't feel their feet because of neuropathy, and putting the pads on their body or where the issue is, the patient with neuropathy that in just a few weeks, they're feeling their feet again, okay? Like, and having injuries, people coming in, and then all of a sudden they're like healed in a third of the time because it allows the body to heal itself faster. That's what it's doing. It's just supporting the body.
So from what I understand, there's red light and then there's real red light therapy. So just putting on a red light isn't bringing out the same frequency that you
No.
get from a real light. So explain how that works because
Yeah.
people can go and buy a
Christmas lights.
$10. Yeah, well, they can go and buy a $10 pad shipped in from China thinking they're
Yeah.
getting red light therapy, but it's just
Yeah.
red light. So what is the red light itself?
Yeah, so there's different nanometers of light. Like if we're looking at blue light, which is about 420 spectrum, that is more for like acne. The nanometers has to do with how deep it's going to go in and also the spectrum of light, how the coloring is. But if you look at Christmas lights, they are red, but in the inside, it's actually just a white light that's coming out. And I was happy to see there was one company, all like a lot of the infrared sauna companies say they have red light. It's a red light sauna, but it's actually mood lighting. It's too far away. And it might just be because if it changes colors, they are just changing the color of the light, but it's not a true LED. We can't change from one color to the next. We have a particular spectrum of light. And so, like on our pads, we have the red and the near infrared to go deeper into the body. Our hats have up to 940 nanometers because we want to help with hair growth and we can help. We've seen memory and cognition also improve. We had a cognitive view in the office and we would test before starting red light therapy and we could see memory and cognition improving each time that the patients came in to do light therapy. So pretty significant. But the thing is again, it's not just also what light is it, how far is it from the body, how close is it, right? There was a company who had red light in the ceiling and they called it like red Legree or something. And I was like, so I'm like, ooh, I can't wait to see this. And I went in and there's like light in the ceiling. It's too far away, to do anything with the body. So again, you have to look at it also. Maybe they are LEDs. Maybe they are true red light, but are they powerful enough? Are they 5 volt? Like ours are 12 volt and 24 volt, depending what the size is. With the 5 volt, that's when, we were working with you doing the R&D. The company was, we make 5 volt. And I'm like, well, it's not powerful enough to see a difference, right? So with the 12 volt and then they had the lights so far apart and we're like, no, I want them to be like the $28,000 system that I have in my clinic because I know that works. And so it took about 4 or 5 times rounds of doing R&D and doing the research and development to create the devices to be powerful enough, safe, and what happens people the nice thing is they feel warm. And the warmth is not coming from the pad because if you just put the pad up and you have it up you turn it on, it doesn't really get warm. But like a flashlight, if you put a flashlight on the bed, yeah, it's gonna get hot because it doesn't know the energy is not going anywhere. But the area itself on the skin and underneath, the tissues start getting warm because we're increasing that adenosine triphosphate and the energy to start working. So it's pretty incredible.
So how far should the red light be from your skin? And can it actually touch it as well?
It can definitely touch it with our pads. Now, there are some panels actually, I've been up against a lot of panels all the way to it, and I don't feel anything. I mean, if you feel like it's getting hot, then it depends on the power of the panel. I so far have not been up against any panel that's been too hot. We had a red light bed also in the clinic, and the lights, because they were 3 watts, they were set maybe about an inch and a half away from the body. And also when we look at light, right? So with this is one of the torch lights, right? We can put it up against it, it's fine. But if I pull it away, my whole hand starts getting the color, right? So that's why even with our bed, we use LEDs. We don't use lasers. It's totally different. A doctor will use a specific laser and get the hand and just get that one pinpoint or wherever they need to put the laser. But on pads, I'll share with you right now, the latest thing to say is we have lasers on our pads. Okay. But a true laser is in a doctor's office, and that doctor has been specifically trained on that laser. Just a common folk, you can't run it. Even a doctor that has not been trained can't run a true laser. Okay. Now, the pads, the laser lights are just like an LED, but it is specifically going just in that one little area and not spreading out a little bit. So even when you have it against the body, guess what? The light under the skin is expanding just like you see when you see a flashlight. So we're getting more area.
So why would they use a laser? Is it because it can go deeper in? And how deep does your pad penetrate through the skin?
Yeah, the red light goes through the skin, and then the near infrared goes into the muscle tissue and also down to the bone. Because we are, and I'll tell you, like, I even wrap my wrist, with the red light, and in 1 month, my 3 fractures that I had were completely healed because of the light therapy and using it 4 or 5 times a day. But it's basically going in. The lasers go deeper, but a true laser is in a doctor's office, and they have to move it quickly so they don't burn you. There is no laser that they put in one place and they hold it there for 10 minutes or 20 minutes. They would burn you because there's so much power. Okay. And those go really deep in. So think of like a laser light, a laser pointer, right? You have that one specific little line. That's all. If someone has on their pad a laser, they call it, but it's truly not a laser. They call it laser light. Even our pads that have LEDs, even when I first started in the industry 8 years ago, that I had in my office, we called them low level laser light therapy, okay? They were calling it laser, it was still LEDs. So those words have been interchanged for a very long time. But again, if you're having even LEDs, if the lights are too far apart, even as we have the light spectrum spread out, right? If they're too far apart, now you're having gaps. So our therapy pads work faster because we're getting more of an area at the same time, and the power that they are that we see within 15 minutes. Even, it was for a while I had my office in a chiropractor's office, and the massage therapist put one of her patients that had a swollen ankle on the table and wrapped it with the pad. And in 15 minutes, the swelling went to half. And it's just amazing to see. And a lot of these pads, people see, I think they work. Even the face masks, right? We put them on the face and they have the little lights, but the thing is, a lot of them have pink, they have blue, they have green because the green helps with brown spots, the blue is with acne. But if you don't need those, now you have the lights even farther apart than what they would have been if you just had red and near infrared for the skin tissue. We actually have our face dome, which is away from the face because we use the pads for fat loss, okay? And if we put our pads on the face, we don't wanna lose fat on the face. I tell people, they say, "Oh, yeah, I do." I said, "No, you're not a sculptor, right? I mean, if you're trying to sculpt your cheeks, if you're a sculptor, right, you can do whatever you want." But we actually have it above because they're powerful enough. Again, then the spectrum opens up just like the flashlight. We're opening up here, right? And that way, now we're getting the whole skin surface all at the same time. And that's how, when we're doing pain therapy, we're trying to get below the surface. Well, it's still expanding under the surface. When we're doing skin for skin tightening, it does not need to be on the skin. So we have about an inch or two away, and they're powerful enough to help increase the collagen production, to help it work. Okay. And then we have our hats, with again, they're closer together because why? Hair follicles are so tiny, right? And we're wanting to, increase. I'll tell you, when people get hair restoration done, if they did red light therapy afterwards, it can help enhance what they've done. I have this friend who's a doctor who went and got hair restoration done, full head of hair, and I was like, "Oh, he looks different." Oh, got it. It's great. He got hair back. But now, 2.5 years later, guess what? He's losing that hair. It's because the cells still needed underneath, still needed support, needed increased energy to support the new hair. Just because we replaced it, there was still a dysfunction. And sometimes it'll be like, if we see you wear a hat and you're not seeing hair growth, It could be a systemic issue. We had a client that came in. We wrapped her for fat loss, abdomen, back, arms, legs, and she had the face dome, nothing behind her head. And within a month, she went to her hairdresser, and maybe even less than a month, she said, "What are you doing? You have new hair growth on the back of your head." For her, it was a systemic issue. She also had Graves' disease, so she had no thyroid. They removed it, even though without a thyroid. So to say, like, okay, the thyroid issue can cause hair loss, but even without her thyroid, she was getting hair growth again. It's amazing because we are helping energize the cells that need it. Everybody should be doing light therapy. If you have a light sensitivity, I would say let's try and see if you're on medication. Will it affect you? That says stay out of the sunlight. I've had people who have, like my mom is allergic to the sun. Okay. But she can do red light therapy. It does not affect her. My mom has to wear special clothing for the sun or she breaks out in a rash. She is sensitive to sunlight, but the red light doesn't affect her. But if anybody has sensitivity, I would say before you try red light therapy, try a small area and see if it's going to affect you because it doesn't affect everyone. I haven't really come across anyone, to be honest, that has an issue with that, but I would always suggest trying that or not doing it if you have sensitivity, if you're afraid of that.
You talk about fat loss. Explain
Hmm.
how that works with red light.
Oh, yeah. So when we put the red light around 20 minutes, depends some systems 30 minutes, but 20 minutes is the minimum. We put the light therapy on there and it's able to open up the fat cells. And the fat comes out of the fat cells. It's going to go through the lymphatic system and process through the liver just like a fatty meal. Now, it's amazing because I honestly didn't think that that would ever work. My first introduction to light therapy over 8 years ago was for fat loss. And I said, this can't work for that. There's no way. This person went to the gym. That person went to the gym. And I went to my friend's office after he bought his $28,000 machine and I wrapped myself with these pads and I saw a difference on my body from the first time. And so I invested in a machine, but there's protocols, right, to do with it. And I teach this, but it's like you have to do a low carb diet, you have to do compression, vibration, massage. There's a process because we're opening fat cells. It doesn't swim away. It's in the area. Now we got to get it to the lymphatic system to process the liver. So we're now increasing circulation with walking, with vibration play, with massage to help enhance that. And the beautiful thing is because the light therapy helps with the collagen production of the skin, normally when someone is older and they have loose skin, what happens? They lose the fat, now they have hanging skin, and they feel like they look worse. But when we're doing light therapy with fat loss, and even with like I feel like if you're doing peptides, if you enhance what you're doing with red light, you'll have the skin tightening effect as well because of reducing collagen. I had a patient who she came in at 310 pounds. In 7 months, she lost 105 pounds of weight and lost another 15 pounds in 2 more months on her own because I taught her to eat. But she has zero hanging skin. She has less hanging skin after she lost the weight than before. Okay. Because of light therapy. She's not the only one.
How many times a week would she use the red light therapy?
Twice a week.
For
Twice a
how
week.
long?
20 minutes each. Well, she was on the bed for 12 minutes, but I'll tell you, we had patients who would lose 3 or 4 pounds sometimes with the pads. There was more fat loss with the pads than with the bed. But the bed was 12 minutes, the pads take 20 minutes.
I just want to let everyone know you are a nutritionist.
I am a nutritionist.
That was
Yeah,
your business for many years prior to red light, and you
correct.
saw more fat loss from red light than you did from diets alone.
Yes,
And that's why you tried. So I just wanted to share that with people so that you're speaking from a knowledgeable expert place, not just, you know,
correct.
coming from a place that just says,
Yeah,
"Oh,
I'm a nutritionist and that's how I was helping people for fat loss with and their health, overall wellness and everything, even muscle gain but that's when I got introduced to red light therapy. I was like, this can't work for fat loss. And here I am at this office and they're like, "Oh yeah, this might be before and afters." I'm like, "You went to the gym. You went to the gym." It's a lie. And that's what I was telling you, I shared with you earlier. I went to my friend's office after he bought his pad system, and I saw a difference from the first time on myself. And I was like, so I'd taken before and after pictures, and I was like, "Oh gosh, I'm in my bikini, and I want my friend to see me." But yeah, I like this works. Like it was crazy. The difference from one time that I invested the same amount of money in the next week. And my thing was I've been doing, I'd been doing at the time before I started my company 3 years of light therapy with my patients and neuropathy patients and pain relief and just amazing results. And I with my protocols with Phallus, a 99% success rate because a lot of times people don't realize they're eating too little food. Whether you're doing the peptides, whether you're doing the red light therapy, we use an InBody 570. I invested in that machine. It was the first thing I bought when I opened up my office almost 9 years ago. Because if you look at the scale, and I couldn't even tell you if I didn't have that we're getting fat loss, right? I would be guessing, I'd be using a crystal ball. For me, even with the Debbie that lost all that weight, and I have, we have her pictures, we have the InBody scans, we have tons of testimonials. I mean, I've helped so many thousands of people in the clinic. And when I have people that consult with me, distance in other states, I make them go get that scan because you need to make sure that what you're doing is working for you or you're wasting your time and your money. So that is like the insight into your metabolism. I call it the x-ray. So in the office, we could see fat loss happening. I had another lady who really didn't have much to lose. She may have had like 15 pounds to lose. And she lost in the 2 weeks, she lost 3 pounds of fat. Now, mind you, 1 pound of fat takes about this much space. So when people look at the pictures and they're like, "That's only 3 pounds?" Because it's fat loss, fat loss. Another gentleman doing red light therapy, he was coming in 3 times a week, just the pads. We dropped his abdomen, his back, and he lost 5 pounds of fat in 2 weeks, pure fat, right? The fat I wish I had it here. 5 pound takes about this much of space. His whole tummy was completely almost flat after that. It's amazing.
How long does that effect last for? And do you have to have a lifestyle change? Because it would make sense to me that if somebody has put themselves into a position of gaining that fat they need to lose, they come and do red light therapy, they lose the fat, but they don't change their lifestyle or they're not exercising. Is that going to come back quickly?
Okay, so the fat that's released doesn't come back, but when people come in and I'm teaching them, they need to they're going to do the vibration. We're making sure they're eating the right food. So when we do the body composition analysis, we're getting to see how much food they need to eat. Again, a lot of people that came in didn't realize they were eating too little. You can gain weight from eating too little and too much. So either way, but yes, we are doing lifestyle. That's why I became a nutritionist. I also became a health coach and a life coach because weight loss is just not about food. There is lifestyle, but sometimes someone can't get themselves out of bed because there's something going on mentally or physically, they could be, right? So we're not just looking at, so when I sell a system to a practitioner, I'm teaching them all the protocols that work. So this is not about that's why even on my website for the light therapy devices, I don't say, here's your weight loss package, right? You have to learn from me. This we're putting a whole program together. So if you want to do it for weight loss, you need to like the vibration plate, the massage hand called massager. And the people lost because they were walking. Oh yeah, you need to basically absolutely change what you're doing and see because I'll tell you, like doing the in-body scan, here's the best part. If you do it again and you slacked, you go, whoa, wait a second. I just gained some weight. You get to see what was it. You can see that you lost muscle and you gained fat, even though sometimes the scale stays the same. You're like, whoa, what am I doing? Right. So definitely lifestyle change goes with it. And because I'm a health coach as well, we go into what supports them. And I find out what is best for that individual person. Everything's personalized what I do. Yeah.
So I'd say I'm a little confused
Okay.
from the point of view that you said you've got to do the red light, then you got to do the vibration plates, then you got all these different things. Will the red light work on its own without that stuff?
So I have people who are doing things and their system is working. Let's say for like I've got athletes, they just come in for recovery and they're like, I noticed that I actually lost weight. Right. So the thing is the same system that I was using for weight loss. Okay. And I'll share with you a couple things here. The same system, I never got 2 pounds of fat off of someone for a week in a week. to lose 8 pounds of fat or to lose 12 pounds of fat in a month is unheard of. Normally, you could see, but yeah, I lost 12 pounds or 20 pounds in a month, but most of it was water and muscle. But when we're able to manipulate the cells open, what we're doing to for the vibration plate is just increasing circulation. And if you did vibration plate and you were a compression on your abdomen, right? If you did everything else without the light therapy, you can't lose 2 pounds of fat in a week by just doing that part. Okay. It doesn't do that. I mean, like I had the lady who lost all that weight, the 130, 120 pounds in 9 months. She was losing sometimes 6 pounds in a week of fat. She wasn't losing water or muscle. And we can see it on the scans because she was coming twice a week. And so we're able to move that fat out of there. I mean, I had a crazy, I mean, one guy lost 11 pounds of fat in 1 week, and I was like, what? Like, it was nuts. We could see on the in body, right? And we could see his abdomen had shrunk so much, okay, in that time. And so when we're looking at fat loss, that's why a lot of, chiropractors' offices and wellness centers have the big pad system because they work. People are paying them a lot of money to do it, right? When I made these smaller devices, the red light pro devices, I didn't make them for clinics, even though they buy them now. It was truly to support people with recovery, with pain relief. That was where my pain point was coming from to push myself to work with engineers to make these devices. And at one point, started having the practitioners ask me, "Can you put a system together?" And I'm like, "Well, why not?" Right? And we use the same protocol. So it is, I'll share with you, like I have a lady that came in and she said, she had to lose maybe like 40 pounds. And I did her body composition analysis. I looked at her food and I said, "You might be eating too little." She's like, "Really? You think I'm eating too little? Do you see my body?" I said, she goes, "I keep track of my food." I said, "Great." So I looked at her app. She needed 1,400 calories based off of her muscle on her body, based off the scan. She was only eating that day that she showed me was like 900. I said, if you had night, she was impossible. Unless she forgot to write something down. She said, "Nope, let me show you another day." It was only like 1,100 calories. And when she came back the next week, she says, "Wow, you're right. It's hard to eat." Uh-huh. You see, a lot of times people are eating too little or they overconsume in a meal and their body's storing it. But again, what happens is the red light is not only opening fat cells, it's helping the body work better too. It's good for your organs. And people are like, when you buy a device, they buy it for their elbow, their knee, their shoulder. Put it on your spine. It's good for your spine. Put it on your neck. I had a lady who bought a pad for her neck. And she's 67 years old and her eyesight improved for the first time ever. And I shared with you last time too, like I've been wearing glasses since I was in junior high and I don't wear glasses anymore. It's funny because I was doing this talk the other day at a wellness conference and there was someone in the audience, so I said about my eyesight and I shared about the client, and he just shook his head. And I'm like, you know what I need to do is I need to go, I'm going to take the time to go to the optometrist. Haven't gone because I can see, get it checked. And I have my old glasses and I'm going to have them analyze what the prescription was so I can show the difference because normally your eyes do not get better all on their own when you get older. They get worse. That's progression. And so again, this lady, for her, maybe it was the nerves behind her eyes. I mean, she didn't do anything other than put the pad. So then she had to bind the face to him. She was, if that's doing that, I need this all over my body. So I do the red light almost every day. And I had let somebody borrow my blanket that I have. So my setup upstairs is my red light blanket, and then my red light dome over my face. And I got it back, but I never set it up. I don't know why. I usually do that and infrared sauna. And I was like, "Why is my face I'm starting to see a couple wrinkles," and I was like, "Oh, I don't want that." And I'm like, "Oh, I'm not doing my red light." And I wasn't doing my infrared sauna that I do as well. And I could feel my recovery taking longer at the gym after my workouts. But I tell you, I am getting my testing again. We have a new test that does biological age for biological systems, 21 organs and systems. So I'll have that by next month, the results. But I did mine now with the Pinoy, and it showed that my biological age is now 11 years younger. And 3 years ago, I was 7 years younger when I did my blood test. So I'm super excited. I know it's because of the light therapy has really helped me a lot. I feel like I don't live a perfect life. I wish I could say I eat perfectly, I sleep on time. Like last night, I had 4.5 hours of sleep, I think, because I was working on stuff, right? But that's not all the time. Like I really put my time into. But if it wasn't for the red light, I don't know where I would be for sure. Yeah,
I think that's a great place to close this up. But when we put this out on social media, if anybody has any specific questions for Penny, please do drop them in the questions. And I'm going to do a Facebook or an Instagram live with you as well so we can get people to come and
perfect.
ask you in person what's there.
Awesome. That'd be great.
One thing to finish with, what would people expect by using the red light therapy? Wrap it up in a 1 minute comment.
I would say if they were had an injury, they would start feeling a difference right away with their injury. I think that they'll have more energy if they use it. I would say, use it. They can even put it buy a pad for their injury and put it on their head, right? Now they're getting brain help. You'll say, "Oh, I feel more alert," but I think they'll definitely feel that their life has been enhanced. I could say that by using light therapy. Yeah,
And that is priceless.
yeah,
Penny, thanks so much for joining us today at Born Superhuman. And I look forward to posting this and getting the information out to so many people that I know could benefit from red light therapy.
yeah,
When I say red light therapy, I mean real red light therapy.
yeah. Thank you.